Welcome to This Week in the PNFL. I'm your host, Mark Hill, and along for the ride, as you guys always know, is Mitch Grawl and Dean Chambers. How you doing today, guys?
Very good. How are you?
Doing great.
Fantastic.
Awesome. So, we are at the midpoint of the season. A lot that's going on. We're going to discuss that more in the middle segment. As far as this week's games go, a lot of upsets, a few upsets that we have here. The Pick'em games, some very interesting games, and a tough defensive battle. So, if you guys are ready, we're going to go ahead and jump right into the games and start getting into this. So, first game on the list, we have New England going into Indianapolis, and New England got it together, and they came out with the victory, a 27-16 victory. We're going to start with you today, Mitch.
Well, I tell you what, I think that the curse of Kyle Allen has finally caught up with Indianapolis after that strong 4-0 start. They have now lost 3 in a row, just can't quite find a way to get the points on the board. New England played another solid game out there, solid and steady. And have now got themselves back up to 4-4, tied with Indianapolis for second place at AFC West. And we'll see who can separate themselves the second half of the season. What do you think there, Dean?
Not so fast. This is not about Kyle Allen. The quarterback that was the key in this game and led them to the victory is Ryan Finley, the player of the game. That's who made the difference here. I don't think there's any curse of Kyle Allen. Jordan Love has taken his place, and he's a starting quarterback for the Colts. But I think the key here was Ryan Finley leading the Patriots to victory with a solid performance. Not incredible numbers, but solid performance. 71% completions, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, combined with 161 yards of rushing. This was all about the Patriots' offense winning this game.
Okay. So, leading into our next game, we have Kansas City going in to play Vegas, and they ended up walking away with a very tight game in the final seconds. Walked away with a 32-30 victory. We're going to start with you on this one, Dean.
Yeah, this was a game I picked an upset in, and I expected Las Vegas to win this game, and they almost did. The Raiders are looking very strong. I remember they were up 2 touchdowns, 14-0, and they were driving towards a third, and I think there was either a turnover or a punt there. And their offense struggled a bit and was inconsistent for most of the game after that, but they still made it close, and they still had a chance of winning. And, the Raiders are starting to put things together, and I'd be surprised to see more Raiders wins in the second half of this season. This team is no longer the headless horseman, but instead it's going to be a competitive, much younger team going into the future, and we're going to see some really good things from this team.
All right, Mitch.
Tell you what a fun game this was. If you were just a fan and just wanted to watch just a fun, exciting game with, all kinds of action, blocked punts, red zone interceptions, timely sacks, knockdown, goal line stand. Man, I tell you what, this game had it all. But if I'm Neil, I would have to say I would probably be extremely frustrated to probably punch the wall or couch a few times. How this thing all turned out, because it looked honestly early on like I thought, boy, I have really not done a good job of preparing my team. But we came through, and the big heroes of this game, our kicker. Nailed 4 field goals in this game. Some of those from deep downtown, and then Harold Landry with a timely sack and 2 blocked punts, setting up some points. So we'll take the win and look forward to building on the momentum in the second half.
Okay, very interesting game, very good game. I remember watching that one, and definitely was an entertaining thing to watch there. So, next game that we have is Pittsburgh hosting LA, and we've been kind of picking on LA quite a bit, and it looks like LA woke up again, so they ended up taking this game 24-21. We're going to start with you on this one, Mitch.
Oh man, I feel bad for Pittsburgh. Um, that was, they gave up some points, but still played some very aggressive, hard nosed defense. Just completely shut down any semblance of that Charger run game. But Kaiser, every time you give up on Kaiser, he finds a way to win, and he got that big completion there at the end, and sent the Steelers packing. But hey, I think both teams should feel pretty good about their momentum going in the second half.
All right, what you got over there on this one, Dean?
Yeah, this is a very close game that resulted in the Chargers winning. I believe I picked Pittsburgh to win, but this was close, statistically just about even. And I noticed that Steve only allowed Kaiser to throw the ball 23 times, but he completed 14 of them and 2 touchdown passes and only the 1 interception. Watson for Pittsburgh pretty much evenly matched those numbers just about. So it was a close, tough game, and teams that are trying to win in this league, sometimes the close games, as we saw with the last one, see with this one, is what you're going to get, and that's what they did get.
Yeah, that was another one that I thought was another one of those entertaining type games. So I would say definitely. Well, we're going to see how LA does if they turn around, but we'll talk about it a little bit more in the middle segment. So
the entire AFC West is great television, man. And we are definitely the most entertaining division in the PNFL. That's for sure.
yeah, no argument with me on that one. No argument there. So, next game that we have is Detroit hosting Atlanta. And this one definitely took it over into once that overtime, and another entertaining game. And Atlanta walked away with this one 28-22. Mitch.
Yeah, I tell you, the Lions got nooched, or should I say nuked? I don't know. With Danucci playing quarterback for Atlanta. Yeah, if you didn't actually, see the score and just kind of look at the stats, you'd kind of think, well, looks like the Lions probably won this game the way they were able to grind up all those ground yards. But Atlanta had just enough there to get it to overtime and get that touchdown to take the victory. So I know that Dean, you're excited about getting yourself back to 500 going in the second half.
Go ahead, Dean. You're up.
This was a close game, and Detroit definitely put up a lot more yards on offense, and I think really the numbers look more even if you add in the special teams numbers. There were some kick returns by my team that set up some scores and certainly helped. And that was needed. The offense, Danucci passed for 70%, completed 70% of his passes, 3 touchdown passes. So he definitely did the job. And he did that without much support of a running game because, once again, the running game it showed up a little bit, but not a whole lot. It wasn't a lot of running in this game. 46 yards overall, and Sanders didn't even lead the team in rushing. He rushed 9 times for 12 yards, which is horrendous for one of the better running backs in the league. Snell came in with 26 yards and 7 rushes. That's only 3.7 average. The running game definitely needs to be better than that to compete against teams like the Chargers and the Chiefs. And we still have the Cardinals coming up later on in the season, I believe. So schedule is getting much tougher in the next several weeks.
Yep, I agree. But definitely, you got that win, and that's all that matters. Just keep piling up those wins and just get prepped up for the next week. So, next game that we have is New Orleans hosting the Giants, and the Giants, they did the best they could. Just came just a touch short, losing this one to the Saints, 26-20. Dean, you're up.
Yeah, this one was very close as well. You look at the total net yards are almost equal, same number of first downs, 17 each. It's just a very close game, and the Saints managed to win it near the end. And I think also you can see that the Saints are a bit better in the rushing yards. That might be a key weakness here. That not to mention 4 interceptions. Lack of a more effective running game, and the 4 interceptions probably led to a loss by the Giants here, where you subtract those, they run the ball better, and Daniel Jones doesn't throw 4 interceptions. Maybe if he just throws 2, Giants may well have won this game. They had chances, but just didn't quite do it.
I agree with that one. Mitch.
Well, last week, Dean came just under declaring the Giants the NFC champion for this season. So, I was a little disappointed to see that they came out flat here against New Orleans. Yeah, Daniel Jones throwing the 4 picks. That was a little bit of a surprise, but he had to throw the ball because Barkley probably had his worst game of the season this week. So we'll see how the Giants do, but as we'll talk about them, we do our mid-year report cards here in the second segment.
Okay. Next game that we have is Jacksonville hosting San Francisco. Another close game, and San Francisco ended up walking away with that one, 24-20. Dean.
Yeah, how many times did we see the 49ers play close wins? I had that as a winning cover, and I don't remember what the spread was, but I know it wasn't. So that the 49ers won again. They didn't cover the spread. I think maybe I should write down a note. Never pick the 49ers to beat the spread, even if you pick them to win, and even if they're favored. But they did pull out the close win, and that is the theme of a lot of these games. Very close win, and helps have 429 total yards of offense. And Jacksonville showed up to play, and they were a tougher team than I think many of us expected against Charlie's 49ers. But it's a key win for the 49ers, puts them at 5-3, and they're just a game behind Chicago in the standings. So it was a very important win.
Yep. Mitch.
The 49ers, well, I tell you, again, you look, and if you didn't see the game, or you didn't look at the actual score, just looked at the box scores here, you'd have thought that San Francisco blew them out. I mean, 8 more first downs, over 100 more yards of offense, had the ball nearly 11 minutes longer than Jacksonville. Had a +1 turnover ratio. Well, it doesn't matter, because end of the day, it was only a 2-point score, and it come down to a missed field goal here or there between the two teams, and Jacksonville wins that game. So hey, more fun in the PNFL.
I agree on that one, definitely. Next game that we have on the list is Seattle hosting Anaheim, and again, another close game with the Hawks taking this one 31-28. Mitch.
All right. So PNFL News subscribers, want to know. So how long did you celebrate this win, Mark?
Um,
Or are you still celebrating, Mark?
I tell you what, we had a celebration for, and his name slips me, for the special teams player at the end of the game for Anaheim that had the illegal block. I definitely have to take a look at my special teams coach and my special teams players, because after we worked so hard to get the ball in down there and kick that field goal, they turned around and let this guy pretty much just walk into the end zone. But thankfully, Anaheim special teams player was like, no, 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 no. It's just too easy. I need to do an illegal block in the back. So got called back, and defense was like, yeah, let's put this away. We don't want to have special teams dealing with it. So yeah,
Uh,
we're still celebrating this a little bit.
I gotcha. Well, I'll tell you what, I think you ought to have a talk to that defensive coordinator a little bit because, that after this game, Anaheim's total points scored increased by nearly 30% on the season. So they'd only scored 71 points for the first 7 games. It put up 30 almost
Yes, I know. I saw
So,
that. I
I don't
saw that.
know what exactly happened there, but, suddenly it looked like, Joshua Dobbs from the Carolina Super Bowl run. But congratulations to you, Mark. And I know that, hey, you're creeping back into the hunt, creeping back in 3-5, not quite over the Mendoza line, but a couple of wins in a row, starting to get your nose back in the race.
Yep.
So we'll see what Dean has to say.
Go ahead, Dean.
Yeah, Joshua Dobbs is player of the game in a losing effort. He completed 77% of his passes and 4 touchdowns and an interception. Those are pretty solid numbers other than the interception. But whoever chose the player of the game apparently didn't look to see that Zach Wilson completed 78% of his passes. Just 1 touchdown, though. Your team must have run for some touchdowns. They did, and no interceptions. So, overall offense, Seattle had 417 yards of total offense. Part of that was based on running the ball for 167 yards. Definitely the stronger running game between the two, whereas Anaheim had only run 62. But, the final score is very close, and a single field goal ultimately decided the game.
Yeah, definitely was a close game. Definitely the defense. I still got to work on that because I got a big game coming up this week. So, as we are coming down to the final 2 games that we have, the next one that we have on our list is Chicago and Washington, and this is the one that a lot of people have picked Chicago to take this one, and it did not turn out to be. And Washington took this game 39-22. Mitch.
You know, I always think, when it comes to, the top coaches in the league, Jerry sometimes I think gets that Rodney Dangerfield look. No respect when going up against teams like Chicago or the Jets, but seems like he always finds a way to get things done. And this week was a very, very strong performance by the Skins. I was very impressed by how they were able to take this game and go with it on both sides of the ball. I mean, there were plays made on both sides, but I mean, this wasn't any luck fly by night kind of win. You know, this was this shows you something here. And so I'm going to pretty much say that's we might have our NFC East locked up now after this week. So we'll see. But what do you think, Dean?
Yeah, who did you pick in this game last week?
I picked Chicago. I know exactly. I should have went with the Skins.
You know, I'm looking at my picture last week. It says Redskins upset, and I think maybe I'm starting to get on the Coach Jerry bandwagon here, and I think with good reason. I think this really is as well as Washington did last season. I think this really is the season when Jerry is focusing on making this happen. And those of you that are not on the train yet, I think it might be time to board the train, because we might be seeing the Redskins representing the NFC this year. It's very possible. This is a solid effort overall, and it wasn't even close. I didn't expect. I picked Washington to win. I didn't expect them to beat Chicago by 17 points, and that spread last week favoring Chicago was too large. But I didn't say that Chicago was going to win, not cover the spread. I picked this as an upset. Washington would win, and they definitely did that.
Yeah, I was wrong. I was on the Chicago train. I thought they were on a roll, but you called it. You definitely called it. So, yeah, I'll save my comment for the middle section anyway. Last game that we have, another close game. This is something that Mitch called, and this is the Jets hosting Minnesota. And you talk about a defensive game, as Minnesota took this game 9-6 from the Jets. Mitch.
I mean, how many times do the Vikings have to beat the Jets before you all believe me when I say the Vikings are going to beat the Jets? I think last year they beat them by a whole lot more, but this year was a little different. That rain made a huge impact on this game. But I'd say the big story, besides obviously the win by Minnesota, is that injury to Tua. Tua's out now 9 weeks. And so how is that going to play out for Minnesota as they get themselves back to 500 and trying to make a playoff run here in the second half? We'll see. But I know that it looks like Barney is bidding against himself for Lamar Jackson. I saw he made a 0-point bid and then immediately made a 1-point bid. So he's trying to outbid himself for Lamar Jackson services. So it looks like he's trying to get Lamar to take Tua's place here for that playoff run. But we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the one I got wrong. I mean, even being aware of how Minnesota had upset the Jets last season, I didn't think that was going to repeat. But I was wrong. I thought the Jets were going to win and cover, and that didn't happen. Very low scoring defensive struggle here, 9-6 score, just a field goal of difference. Neither offense put up a whole lot of points in this game, just 15 points total, and it was all field goals, no touchdowns. The defenses did not allow the other team to get in the end zone, and that's remarkable considering how high scoring the Jets offense can often be. That Barney's defense kept the New York Jets out of the end zone to win this game.
Yeah, I definitely was surprised by that. I'm looking at it right now. I mean, Minnesota had 160 yards rushing versus the Jets 80. And usually with that stat, you'd see at least somebody scoring, at least in the end zone once. But also, if you look at the stat line for the quarterbacks, Jones had 2 interceptions for the Jets. Tua had 1, got injured because Neal came in for a couple snaps. But yeah, definitely that was a textbook on defense right there. Defense, they bent, but they didn't break. So, if you're a defensive person, if you like watching these tight defensive games, low scoring games, you would have enjoyed it. If you want to have a shootout, not so much. So, all right. So as we wrap up that first segment, going through all the games, we're just moving right along here. We're going to pivot into our second segment. And the second segment pretty much is, as we discussed before, It is basically the mid-season review. See how our teams are looking. What team surprised you that was doing what we thought they were going to do. Which ones should have excelled a little bit better, but didn't. So we're gonna go through all those things. So I think we will start off with Dean on this one. I know Mitch likes to do the cleanup on the back end, so we're going to start with you on this one, Dean.
Yeah, I think some of the most notable things I see in the standings and where teams are halfway through the season. We have a pair of 7-1 teams, the Jets and the Redskins, and we have a pair of 1-7 teams at the other end of the spectrum with Jacksonville and Anaheim. And then we have, I believe I counted 7 4-4 teams, and we have what looks to be 4 3-5 teams, and we have a couple 5-3 teams that are in the hunt for postseason, namely San Francisco and Kansas City leading the AFC West. And Chicago is 6-2 with that loss to Washington. They both have been 6-1. And that still could, and upsets always happen, of course, but that still could be the NFC Championship game. We have 3 4-4 teams in the NFC that are still in contention. The 49ers are 5-3, look like a good bet for possibly winning one of those wild card spots. We have a number of 4-4 teams and 3-5 teams in the AFC. That those wild card races are pretty wide open, and in the AFC West with 2 games separating the top and bottom, the entire division is wide open. AFC East, the Jets look solid to win the division, but New England and Indianapolis are certainly competing for a spot.
Definitely. Mitch, what do you have on this? And then I have another question. Go ahead.
Well, Mark, first, I think Dean is recording live from Folsom Prison tonight because I hear that train coming behind him there. But anyhow, little Johnny Cash humor, if y'all wonder what that's all about. But anyway, what an interesting first half of the season. I think what Dean said, about we've got kind of that yin and yang going on, right? You got the 2 7-1s, the 2 1-7s. You got a lot of teams there in that 4-4, 3-5, 5-3 range, all kind of bunched up there together. And you have to ask yourself, gosh, is this all this kind of built in? Is that because of such rugged competitiveness between the teams? Is it just that parity that that folks strive for, where it kind of keeps everybody bunched up together? Or is it just a bunch of mediocre teams just trying to slop their way through the season right now? I think, you could make a case for maybe all 3 of those going on out there to some extent. But regardless of kind of where you fall on that, I think you would all agree that it has been a fun first half of the season. And the fact that really, you've got 16 teams that I think at least mathematically still have shots at making the playoffs. I guess you could probably say all 18 have mathematical shots, but I think realistically 16 teams really have a chance to get into that playoff race. I think I look at some of these newbie teams out there like Pittsburgh. I still say that Las Vegas is a newbie team, and I'll still say Indianapolis is a newbie team. The 3 of those teams there, right in the middle of it, right? Las Vegas and Pitt, 3-5, really starting to play some solid ball out there. Pittsburgh reminds me a little bit of how I played when I first got back into the league. Really tough on defense, trying to find their way on offense a little bit. And then you got, Indianapolis, hot start, kind of cooled off, but, still in position to make a run here the second half. You look over there at that, well, in it's AFC West, I mean, gosh, I mean, you've got, um, man, what a fun division, right? If it wasn't so nerve-wracking playing the division, I would really enjoy watching these games. But I mean, you look at that up to down. I mean, that is a wild division, and I mean, every game is tough. Every game is tough out there. You look over NFC East, and Jerry is, I think, really separated himself out there. I don't think the other three teams are going to match up with Jerry here in this second half. So I think we can go ahead and lock in Washington for a home playoff game already. The NFC West, I don't know. I think Chicago's still going to take that division. San Francisco's holding tough, but we've seen San Francisco, start off, solid, start the season, and then go down, lose 6 or 7 in a row on the backside. So we'll have to see if San Francisco can keep it rolling. Then you got, the Jets. Yeah, this loss definitely was not something they were looking forward to, but even though they are. Only 3 games up on their next two competitors, which I jokingly say that. I think you can lock them in for that home game for the playoffs, and we'll see who they have to play. But good start to the season, lots of entertaining games, lots of fun, and what do you think, Mark? What do you see
Well,
out there? What's your mid-year review?
I need to fact check you on something before Mark responds. There's no prison anywhere in this area. This is Washington here. We just have to hope that the trains don't derail. And on that theme, Lamar Jackson may have gotten a get out of jail free card, and he's going to be starting in Minnesota possibly this week. And Trey Lance, who maybe is going in the opposite direction, might be feeling like going to Jacksonville is a sentence, because he's probably relegated to being once again a career backup.
Ouch. That's not a good news for him.
But he'll always have the distinction of being traded for like the number one overall pick in the league. So
Number 3 to be exact.
Oh, I'm sorry, number 3 overall.
Actually, it wasn't a direct trade, because it was a pair of second round picks that was traded for Justin Fields, and the Trey Lance pick, which I believe was for a 4th-round pick, was a separate trade actually. So maybe that's technical information, but we
Gotcha. Okay.
we want to ensure journalistic accuracy here on the program.
There you go. So, my take on it at midweek or at the mid-season is, first off, I'll go in order. Looking at the AFC East, Jets, no brainer. I knew that was going to happen. I said at the beginning of the season, what they did last season was a fluke, and they were going to come back this season and say, okay, clearly you guys don't know who I am, and let me just reintroduce myself to you guys. And they had a little setback, but that was a tough defensive game. If I was the Jets, would I worry about it? No. That's everyone's entitled to that one little setback, but yeah, he's gonna automatically home field game in the playoffs. So I figured that was gonna end up happening. New England definitely surprised me. If Coach Mox can keep it going, he will definitely make another playoff push and maybe get a wild card spot out of that. Indy is definitely a surprise, but pleasant surprise right there. Jacksonville, I have no idea what's going on in Jacksonville. I thought they were going to do something a little bit better. I have no idea what's going on over there. Over in the AFC West, Kansas City, I kind of figured that Mitch was going to do his thing, so that was no surprise there. LA, I think they're starting to come out of rehab. Well, that remains to be seen because they've been kind of streaky up and down, up and down. Minnesota, I have them this week. Jury's still out with them. I think they'll do better. I think they're. Well, let me take that back. they're turning it on again because again they got the win. So that's going to be a real tight race. Even when I was in that division, it was always a tight race. It's like the black and blue division, so they're going to beat each other up like they did last season and the season before, and it's going to be a dogfight the rest of the way. Pitt and Vegas, pleasant surprise. I think they'll probably give you guys a run for the money. If they don't do it this season, look out for them next season. So definitely, that's the division to look at because there's only two spots. I think actually let me put it like this. I think the two wild card spots will probably come out of the West. I could see New York taking the East, obviously. In the West, I think it'll be between Kansas City and Minnesota, and then to Kansas City or Minnesota, and then the wild card will probably either be, one of the other two teams in there. Which ones I don't know. It's still too early, but I think the two wild cards are going to come out of the West. In the NFC side, Washington. Enough said. Not even go into it any further. You guys already talked about it. I think the wild card will go back to Atlanta, and Atlanta will take care of it. I don't know about Sean in New York. He has a lot of work to do, but I feel more confident on Atlanta getting a wild card than New York. Out in the West, Chicago, they have it. The wild card for that one, I like to be optimistic for my team, but I have a lot of work to do. I could see that either going to Frisco or New Orleans at this time. We'll see what it looks like in a couple of weeks. But at this time, if it was today, I would say I'd probably pick Charlie at this time. But again, got another half to play. So hopefully I didn't go off.
I just noticed something. What happened to the AFC and NFC? It just says conference above either one.
It's always been that way. Ever since I've looked at it, I just accepted it. I knew that's what it was.
Oh, I thought it actually said NFC and AFC. I was gonna say maybe this is a subject that should be a subject of an in-depth investigative report by the PNFL News.
Yay. Okay. Hey, Rich, I know you're out there listening. Can we take a look at that for next week and see if we can get this cleared up a little bit? AFC, NFC. Like I said, last season I always noticed it as conference, and I think the season before that. So clearly there's something going on over there, probably a scripting issue on it. So, anything else you guys got on this one? I think I might have went a little bit too far in depth instead of going general. I just went on and picked team side, but individual team.
Like I said, I think this first half been good. I just hope that as things begin to separate out, like they always tend to, that teams that might, maybe fall out of contention for the playoffs continue to battle and learn and work on their craft because, that's the best way to get better at this game is to continue to practice, continue to play regardless of what's going on. So that's all I'll say.
Yeah, we have 16 teams that are in contention, and I think each week going forward, we're going to see some of those starting to be in weaker position and maybe on the bubble and maybe starting to fall off the bubble.
And I will say, some guys had said last time that I was throwing rainbow sprinkles and fairy dust on every team. I did not do that this week. So the only one that left me in some confusion is the AFC West, but that's always been a tough division to predict, always, because it's real tightly bunched up, and it's, like I said, it's a dogfight. So that was one reason why I didn't want to leave that division. So, oh well. All right, so as we are pivoting over to our last segment, we're just clicking right along here, and we're going to go into the Week 9 games. And as we go into the Week 9 games, I can say that there are no pick'em games. I think the spread for some of these games is probably a little bit high, but I think we have some good matchups here. We're going to go through these. So First game on the list, we have Kansas City hosting Jacksonville. Richest Sportbooks are giving Kansas City 10.5. We're going to start with you on this one, Dean.
Yeah, this game I think is going to be closer than expected. I think that spread is too large. I do think Kansas City is going to win, but they're not going to cover the spread.
All right. Coach, what you got over there, Coach Graw? What your boys going to do this week?
Well, as you saw this past weekend, Jacksonville's coming off their best game of the season. Just a hair, shy of beating, San Francisco, who's starting off the year very well. However, usually I, begrudgingly pick my team because I feel like I have to. And I will say that that has not necessarily worked out so well here recently. So I'm just going to say that I'm going to win this game, and I'm going to win this game by more than the spread. I think y'all can go ahead and just get that second mortgage and put your kids through college. So that's where I'll leave it at there, Mark.
Okay. No Coach Holtz this week, huh? Just being honored. You just coming out saying, yeah, I'm dominating. Okay. Next game. Yep. Next game.
Keep it close.
Do it now?
They'll be keeping it close.
Yeah. Next game, we have the New York Jets hosting Indy, and they are giving the Jets 13.5. We're going to start with you, Mitch.
I believe that the Jets will come out and roll pretty strongly. They'll make up for that game last week, and Mac Jones will probably win Player of the Week this week. So I'm all on the Jets.
All right. Dean.
Yeah, I'm actually going to say mega dittos to all of that. Jets are going to win and cover the spread.
Okay. Straight to the point. Next game, we have Raiders Steelers Part 2. They are giving Pittsburgh 4.5. Dean.
Yeah, this is the one you want to bet on, the second mortgage and drain out your bank account, all of that, take it to your bookie. And this is going to be an upset. I'm predicting an upset, and it is a lead pipe lock. The Raiders are going to win this game outright.
Okay. Mitch.
Well, I think this is going to be an entertaining game. I've had to play both of these teams this season, and I have to say neither game was easy for me. Three times I've played these teams, and none of the games were easy. I'm going with the Steelers. I think that steel curtain defense is for real. Donovan's got that run defense playing, Lambert and Ham are back out there on the field. And so I think it's going to be another 16-14, 13-10 kind of game like it was last time these two teams played.
All right. I will go along with what I went with last time. I think he's going to pull up the ghosts from Steelers past, and Pittsburgh's going to take this one again. They're going to sweep the series for this season. So I'm going with Pitt.
I noticed we agreed on the first two matchups, and this one I disagreed with you two on, and I'm either going to be wrong or it's going to be like last week when I picked the Redskins to beat Chicago.
Yeah. I think Pitt's going to take this, though. But yeah, this is going to be a fun one. In any event, I think this is going to be a real fun game to watch. Definitely. Next game, we have Anaheim hosting Washington, and they are giving Washington 14.5. Mitch.
Well, if it was April 1st, I would do a lead pipe lock and say Anaheim wins this game. But since it's not April 1st, I'm going with the Redskins.
All right. Dean.
Yeah, I don't see Anaheim being tougher than expected here, so I'm going with that too. Staying on the Jerry train. Redskins win and cover.
All right. I will say, since I played Anaheim, I can tell you guys right now, they are not going to put up that many points as they did last week. They're going to crash back down to earth. I don't. I'll take the spread. Also, I'm going with Washington on this one as well. Next game, we have LA hosting Atlanta. They are giving Atlanta 6.5. Mitch.
A rematch of last year's Super Bowl. The two improbable teams played each other for the PNFL championship. A game that led to glory for Deshaun Kaiser and for a separation between Justin Fields and the Falcons organization. Um, Man, this will be fun to watch. It should be the Thursday night or some sort of primetime game this week for sure. This is my lead pipe lock. There's been a lot of jaw jacking between these two coaches in the off season and during the season. Both teams are 4-4. Both teams are desperate for a win to keep their hopes alive for division and or playoff contention. I'm going with the champs. I think Kaiser is going to keep it rolling, and I think the Bolts are going to win this game. Lead pipe.
Okay. Coach Chambers, what do you got for us this week?
Yes, I need to remind you that the cancer is gone, or at least it's in remission. You called Justin Fields the cancer in this team, and he was traded. So we don't have Justin Fields to get sacked 8 times and lose this game. So I think your lead pipe lock might turn out to be a lead pipe curse on the Chargers.
Well, I'd only have to bring this up. What quarterback for Atlanta doesn't get sacked 8 times in a game? But
Maybe the one who started last week.
we'll see if he can repeat 2 weeks in a row.
Okay, so for me, yes, this is a rematch, but I think Atlanta is going to get their revenge, and Atlanta is going to take this game. That's who I'm going with on this one. Next game, we have the Giants taking on Detroit, and they are giving the Giants 3.5. Dean.
Yeah, you never know when James is going to try some interesting stuff and pull off an upset. But generally, Sean has done fairly well at playing against the Lions. So I'm going with the Giants on this one to win and cover the spread.
Okay. Mitch.
Yeah, I agree with part of what Dean just said. You never know when James is going to try. So this week, the Lions could come out and do very well, but I'm going to take the Giants to rebound. I think Saquon gets things going. And Daniel Jones, I'm confident, will not throw 4 interceptions again this week. Giants get over 500 with the win over the Lions.
All right. So I do think Sean's going to get this thing going. I've seen Detroit's gotten some wins under the belt, but I still think that the Giants is going to take this one, and I'm using my lock on this one. I am going with the Giants lead pipe lock. Lock it in, boys. Let it roll. Next game, we have New England hosting New Orleans. They are giving New Orleans 6.5. Mitch.
I like New Orleans. I've liked them all year. They've disappointed me a few weeks, but I'm still taking New Orleans to keep moving and win this game.
All right, Dean.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough week for New England. The Saints defense is going to be pretty tough on Ryan Finley, and Ryan Finley might look a little bit more like Trey Lance or Justin Fields in this game. The Saints are going to win and cover the spread.
All right. And I'm going to go with the Saints as well. So we got a clean sweep on this one for New Orleans. Next game, we have Chicago hosting San Francisco. They are giving Chicago 9.5. Dean.
Yeah, this would be an opportunity for the 49ers to go 6-3 and compete for the division. But, they are playing the Cardinals, and, Chicago's coming off that tough loss against the Redskins. I don't see Chicago doing anything but rebounding and beating the 49ers this week. This is a win, and they'll cover the spread.
Okay. So you're going with Shot-Town. Mitch.
All right, Mark, I have a question for you.
Yep.
What wins championships?
Defense.
Defense, that's right. You know who has the number one defense right now based on yards allowed this season?
Let me do a quick jump over here.
I'll give you two guesses. It's one of the two teams playing in this game.
Yeah, but I don't want to pick the wrong one, though. So I would say Chicago?
No, San Francisco. San Francisco, number one in yards allowed defense this season. And like you said, defense wins championships. However, this isn't Championship Sunday, Mark. This is Week 9, and Chicago is going to win this game, and I think they're going to win and cover that spread.
You made it sound like you're going to pick an upset, and then you still say Chicago wins.
Mm-hmm.
It's called radio. It's called drawing in your audience.
Okay, sucking them in.
You're really good at selling us the bill of goods, but then you still say Chicago. I mean, that would have been interesting if you picked an upset from the 49ers.
Yep, definitely. Because I thought he was going with Frisco as well. As for me, I am taking Chicago on this one. I think they're going to keep the train. They're going to get themselves going and just keep the train rolling. That's my pick. Last game again. I don't understand this. Oh well. We have Minnesota hosting the Seahawks, and they are giving Minnesota 7.5. We're gonna have Mitch take off on this last one. Mitch.
Ooh, man, old AFC West battle here. Two teams that don't like each other. They like to, take, cheap shots and after the whistle hits on each other. There's only one problem I see here in this game for Seattle, and that's the fact that, the Minnesota has I think the number one scoring defense in the league. Where San Francisco, they don't give up a lot of yards. Minnesota doesn't give up points. And Seattle has had a hard time scoring in some games. But they don't have a problem giving up points to teams like Anaheim. So I think Minnesota wins this game. It's going to be something like 21-10, something like that range.
Well, if you're picking 21-10, how's Minnesota going to win with only 10 points? Dean, go ahead.
Yeah, this reminds me. I'll just dip into for a slight minute into politics. I remember last year, people I talked to, I predicted that, that people were telling me that Dr. Oz is going to win the Senate race in Pennsylvania, and a bunch of people told me, I said, no, John Fetterman is going to win. It's going to happen. And that's what happened. This game kind of reminds me of this. I can see people look at this, oh, yeah, Minnesota's going to win. It's going to be easy. Not so fast. The Seahawks are going to pull off the upset here and win this game. Take it. It's not a lead pipe lock, obviously, because I've already made that, but you can take this one to the bank, too. Seahawks are going to win this game.
Hey, there's no need to insult Mark by calling him John Fetterman. I'm sorry to hold you, Mark.
Ouch. All I got to say is go Hawks. Nothing else needs to be said. Go Hawks. So,
second that motion.
Yeah, there you go. We'll leave Mitch as the odd bird out. No worries. So, as we come to the end of this show, that's our comments as far as the midweek or mid-season grades go. What do you guys think? The forum is out there, and Yes, make those comments on the forum, and let's keep the commentary going out there. So, as we come to wrap up this show, our mid-season show, and wrap up, what do you have to say over there, Dean? Any final words?
Yeah, I remember several weeks of last season, I would say, let's hope our quarterbacks are healthy. We saw the injuries happening, you know, other than in Minnesota where that's not true. They're generally healthy, but in many instances they're not playing very well. So, for many of us, we have to hope that not only do our quarterbacks stay healthy, but they manage to actually play fairly competently. Going 11 for 34 is not winning any games.
Yeah, this is true. So, Mitch, what you got over there?
What do I have over here? I don't have nothing else to say. I just want
Oh, come
to
on! I know
round
you.
up
I
and
know you
say,
got something. You always have
listen,
something to say off the
yeah,
live feed. So come on, what you
uh,
got?
uh, I think at the mid-season mark, let's just be honest. When you look at who all the division leaders are, there's no surprise. I don't think there's a lot of surprise there. However,
Kansas
the
City. That's a surprise.
yeah, I mean, but when you look, AFC West is really the only division with what you might call a race for that divisional crown. So we'll see how the second half goes. But if y'all want to be entertained, watch the AFC West.
Well, the 49ers are a game behind Chicago. Don't count them out.
They'll be separated after this week. And oh yeah, by the way, Mark, let's get it.